Welcome back, I'm Tedward, and today, thanks to Bond Group in Waltham, Massachusetts, we're driving a 1989 Ferrari 328 GTS. The GTS meaning it's the Targa variant. We've got the roof off today on a beautiful fall day. It's unseasonably warm for November, but you may see a bit of haze in the sky. It's incredibly smoky. The wildfires out here due to the drought have been prolific, and hopefully we don't start any fires with the classic Ferrari. But no, the 328 GTS is one of the more affordable sort of entry-level classic Ferraris you can get into right now, and these are a joy to drive. They're mid-engine 90-degree V8s, the last of the Dino V8s, and its namesake is 328 because it's a 3.2-liter 8-cylinder. Back when things made sense and you could really decipher what a car was by its name instead of just some random numbers that seemingly sound good or have some obscure heritage. I'm looking at you, Porsche, with your 718. Anyway, the 328 I think is really classical 80s styling, but modern enough that it's easy to work on. These are not something that you need to remove the engine or anything for belt services, but you do need to keep up on the maintenance because they can be catastrophic failures if you let those belts age out. So most people aren't going to go and put 10, 15,000 miles per year or daily drive their 328s, but time is of the essence. So when you're looking for one of these, you want one with good record keeping. Style-wise, it looks a lot like its predecessor, the 308, which was not as good a car. It didn't make as much power. This makes 266 horsepower, and it's pretty formidable for roads today. What's great, too, is the Pininfarina style stays the same. 308 still a beautiful car, but the 328 just takes it up a little bit more and makes it a bit more modern. Somehow, this sort of chunky and very, blocky square design with rounded edges works really well. And what I love about these cars, even these lights down here, this reminds me of sort of 288 GTO. There's a lot of old school Ferrari vibes in this car, so maybe it's not because of this car it looks so good. Maybe it's because of some of its crazier Group B homologation siblings that made it look this great. But either way, pop-up headlights are killer, and we love it. So for 89, you get ABS. I believe maybe they introduced that in 88, but this means that you get slightly different wheels because they did some changes to the suspension and braking systems, and that means you've got the convex wheels. They're not flat. So if you take a look here, the 5-star pattern actually does kind of bulge out a little bit to make all the room it needs, but they are still very beautiful and pretty, and I love it. Nice delicate door handles to open these doors. You've got window controls down here, beautiful leather seats, but a fairly simple interior that isn't going to confuse you, right? There's just some HVAC controls, some big chunky buttons, and a gated 5-speed Dogleg manual transmission. This one has the original shift knob because you can tell this is orange. We were driving one recently, my friend Aaron's car, which his car is gorgeous, but his actually has the white lettering. On the dashboard, you'll see that the font is all orange, and I think that looks really, really cool. All right, let's get in the back because this is where this car actually really means something to me. I love Ferrari V8s. This thing is so cool, and what you might not know is that this is not mounted longitudinally, so you're actually looking down the barrel of a bank, and that's not unusual for older Italian sports cars. Even the Miura had a transverse V12, which I think actually ends up lending itself to a better sound. If there was no glass between you and this engine, well, you're sitting right in front of the intake. So you kind of get the opportunity to listen to everything right behind you instead of having that line of trumpets. I'm getting very hyper specific, but anyway, I just think that there's some value in these transverse V8s that are really fun, especially because, like I said, it can be worked on. This is not something that you need to remove the engine to do service on. So that's going to save you oodles of money in regards to maintenance, in comparison to, say, an F355. In the front, there's not much space up here, but you've got a couple cooling fans, and you have a spare wheel and tire, which is always lovely to have because, man, you just want to be able to do this stuff yourself. You don't want to have a tow truck come and bail you out. There is not much storage up there, but you do have a little bit of space, which I'm currently using underneath this little flap. So not a lot, but enough for some luggage. If you did have to bring a couple duffel bags on a weekend trip, you could absolutely do that. We've got some tools, but Other than that, this thing is just a gorgeous Ferrari. It evokes all of the emotions of a Ferrari, and it sounds pretty darn good. Manual steering and a gated manual gearbox. It's going to be a good day. So let's go out, make some noise, and listen to the 328. We are on some older tires. Go figure, a black Ferrari on ancient tires. We're having a bit of a trend here on the channel. So we're not going to be pitching it into corners and really pushing too hard, but we are going to rev out this engine, and I want to just show you what it's like to kind of buzz around in one of these things. To start our Ferrari, we've got our key in hand. Pop that in the ignition in the correct direction. Neutral. I should have unbuckled so you could hear all the beeps. But jumps right to life. Happy little car. The pedal box offset quite a bit to the right. If you look straight down here, this is where my brake is. This is where my clutch is. Throttle's way over here. Parking brake is a flyaway, so we pull up, push, and down. There we go. And like I said, it's a dog leg. A dog leg just means that first gear is here instead of here, because reverse is where first gear would be. There is a reverse lockout, so you push down on the stick to get into reverse. Easy car to drive. There's loads of torque. I think this V8 is so charming. And these flat plane V8s, they have such a unique sound. It's a very buzzy bee kind of thing versus some brutal American style. But I love the way you end up sitting in this car. It has a sense of occasion. I have to adapt to it a little bit, so I'll admit that this is not an intuitive driving position for me off the bat. But you kind of adjust to it, and it's very relaxed. Like, I'm actually not sat that low in the car, and yet somehow I still feel reclined and comfortable. The steering wheel does not move, does not adjust. This is where you're at. So you need to figure out how you can get your body in a place to deal with these pedals and this steering wheel. I'm like a little further back than I typically like to go, but usually I want my wrist right there when I'm leaning all the way back. So I'm a little bit further back, but remember, the wheel is canted up just a bit, like a school bus. Ooh, we're going head on with a Prius, who is not cool with giving any room. Oh my goodness. I'm having to reverse the Ferrari. Oh, drive defensively, boys and girls. All right, up here. Sounds so good. Up here, I have my two stocks. I've got my headlight stock and my blinker stock. I wish the blinker stock was the big one, honestly, because I almost always go for the headlights. It's not so fast that you can't express it once in a while. You know, you get some revs, you make your noise, the top down just makes it perfect for all the sounds. And then you bail, because we don't want to be a menace to society, but we can have fun. I do think this is just such a charming analog feeling car. but it's also comfortable. It doesn't feel like you have to make a huge sacrifice to drive it in terms of like, oh, I'm driving an old car. No, it feels like it's happy to take some bumps. It doesn't feel as fragile as you would anticipate a Ferrari to be. I love analog, non-power steering racks. It just is something you need to have in your collection. It feels so rare to have something that doesn't just filter out all the texture of the road. What's odd is just driving it around town though, really easy, really simple. I like this shift actuation. I don't feel like I'm having to think, you know, some cars, some persnickety cars can be really tricky when it comes to driving slowly. They like to be driven hard. They like to be driven at red line only. And look at that. Super content to be shifted at 3,000 RPM. And it's just going for it. I'm not having to baby it whatsoever. I'm able to just drive normal. Like, this is a normal car. I do really like this car. I gotta say though, I think, you know, I drove it back to back with that Strosik 964, not this one, but A328 GTS. And I personally am a lot more confident in the Porsche. I think the Porsche offers a little more in the way of feeling connected to a point where I know if things get a little slideways or, you know, I get some understeer or something like that. I know what's going on. I feel a lot more comfortable in those cars. Give cyclists some room. This is an easy road for it, but so much animosity between different groups of travelers. They hate cyclists and pedestrians. Like, I get it. You're in the way, but we're all in somebody's way. So just try not to kill anybody. Is so smooth. It's not particularly shouty or loud either. It just makes all the right noises. It revs out to redline so effortlessly. Sometimes I'm starting to do this on the highway, but I gotta get this out. I think sometimes I get a little intimidated by Ferraris because of the name. It's a Ferrari. You think, oh, it's gonna be delicate. It's gonna be a little over the top. It's gonna be something that I'm not prepared for because who am I? I'm a BMW guy. I'm not a Ferrari guy. But then you get in it, and they're drivers' cars. Yes, there are shortcomings in all Ferraris, and sometimes they don't necessarily live up to all of the hype. But at the end of the day, this has a phenomenal powertrain with an engaging steering setup, an engaging shifter, lovely brakes, and a pretty well-tuned suspension. You know, I don't feel I don't feel uneasy in this car. I feel like you just get in it and drive it. It's wonderful. That should all be a lake, a pond, a reservoir. It's nothing. All right, probably good that we've got some traffic to limit me on speed on this entry because these tires are very old. And the more I get accustomed to this car, the more I want to push it, but I need to be aware of some of just the facts of life. Anyway, I'm gonna go sit in traffic for a little bit in this 328 GTS. This thing is just a joy. I am having a great time. I can understand why if someone bought one of these a long time ago, they might refuse to part ways. And if you're looking to get into a Ferrari for, you know, reasonable money, this is the way to do it. Because if you're not an air-cooled Porsche guy, but you still want classic sort of sports car thing, this is probably the way to go. And I don't think you're going to be disappointed. I had kids, I turned the camera off, and this little kid was like, "Great car!" And it was like a 12-year-old girl. So even the shape just evokes excitement from people who may not even know what it is. I don't know if a 12-year-old in 2024 is like, "Hey, that's an 89 328 GTS," or if they're just like, "Cool car, end of story." That's really all you need. Make sure nobody makes any last second moves to total our Ferrari right here. We're in the clear. Off we go. Well, thank you guys so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. I am going to mosey this back to Bond Group after another successful test drive in a fun Italian sports car. Let's please make this light. Don't forget to respect the drive, and I'll see you in the next one.